close, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Asian markets trade mostly lower Thursday, pressured by weak Chinese data and a sharp drop in copper prices. Manufacturing contracts for a fourth straight month in July as demand softens. Copper futures sank 19% after Trump announces a 50% tariff on pipes and wiring, excluding key inputs like ores, concentrates, and cathodes. Japan's Nikkei 225 is currently in the green, while the rest are in the red. In the currency markets, the US dollar depreciates against the Japanese yen, the Singapore dollar, South Korean won, and the Thai baht, but it is flat against the Hong Kong dollar. The Australian dollar, on the other hand, appreciates against the greenback. In commodities, gold prices are down by 0.2%, while oil markets are mixed. In the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin rises by more than 1%, while Ethereum is up by over 2%. The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, had no system to track last-minute flood control projects inserted into the 2025 national budget by lawmakers. Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan made the admission amid growing controversy over budget insertions. He says some items neither proposed by the DPWH nor approved by the Budget Department suddenly appeared in the final General Appropriations Act. Bonoan notes these projects skipped validation and engineering assessment, posing challenges once the budget is enacted. He adds the DPWH had no access to the bicameral committee that finalized the budget before it was sent to President Marcos. A business leader believes the private sector could play a key role in solving the country's flooding problem if corruption is removed from the equation. In an interview on BNC's Business 360, Makati Business Club Executive Director PAOCC said that business leaders support the president's plan to hand over 1 trillion pesos worth of flood control projects to the private sector, particularly large conglomerates with a proven track record.
This is something that the private sector might be good at. I mean, when you look at the big contractors, the sort of DMCIs of this world, right? These guys are excellent engineers, and they might be able to solve this problem, if given the opportunity in a corruption-free environment.
This comes after President Bongbong Marcos, in his SONA, ordered a probe into flood control projects amid corruption concerns.
The reason that flood control is such a big target for corruption actually is because it's not really visible. A lot of it is dredging. So, the temptation to do ghost projects where you pay someone $1 million and they just put a bit of equipment there, but they don't really do anything, obviously has been too tempting for a lot of people.
Cybercrime law enforcers detect a link between online gambling and the use of lending apps. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission has recorded more than 150,000 complaints of online crimes a month. The victims include overseas Filipino workers. They lost their savings through online gambling and then borrowed money from online lending apps. If the borrower misses a payment, they will be harassed. President Bongbong Marcos will go on a 5-day state visit to India. This is from August 4 to 8, upon the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. After official meetings in New Delhi, the president will next head to Bangalore. The Philippines and India are celebrating this year the 75th anniversary of the establishment of their diplomatic relations. The Makabayan Bloc files a bill which seeks to establish a 1,200 peso national minimum wage. Let's find out more from ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino. Good afternoon, Rep. Tino.
Hi, good afternoon, Mai, and good afternoon to all the audience.
Thank you for joining us today, sir. Now, do you think this bill will get enough support among your colleagues? I mean, the 19th Congress failed to even pass a legislated 200 peso hike.
Well, we have no illusions. As you said, in the previous Congress, both houses actually had approved versions of a legislated wage increase, but the president in Malacanang, the economic managers made it clear that they were against it. So, in the end, nothing happened to it. But nevertheless, the public clearly wants wage increase as well as lower prices consistently in all surveys. That's what it shows. That's the first priority of Filipinos. So we will continue to push for this, and hopefully there will be growing pressure on the president in particular to address this issue.
Yes. Now, House Bill 2599 seeks to set the minimum wage to 1,200 pesos regardless of region, right? So explain this to us some more. Why 1,200? Is this a decent wage that would be sufficient to support a family?
Yes. So as to the amount, the bill establishes that the national daily minimum wage should be equivalent to a living wage. So in the bill, it's defined as a family living wage. And right now, that's the amount that the family needs in order to live, to have a decent standard of living for one day. Currently, that's at 1,200. So that's the amount. But there's also a provision that will be periodically adjusted as needed. In addition, other important features of the bill are, as you said, this will be reestablishing a national minimum wage. So that means no more regional differences in wages, which are quite significant in the Philippines. So the national the minimum wage in NCR is 695, whereas, for example, in BARM, it's 300. I think it's 366 or thereabouts. So it's quite a significant gap, even though the cost of many basic necessities, for example, rice or fuel, they're more or less the same, in throughout the country. So, and plus another important feature of the bill is that the minimum wage is set for both the private and public sector workers. Again, there is a disparity right now between public sector workers and private sector workers. In NCR, the minimum wage is now 695 monthly. That would be around 15,290. Whereas the entry-level salary in national government is 14,000 a month. So, as we said, there should be one minimum wage nationwide.
Yes. All right. Talk to us some more about the measure's primary goal, which is to amend the labor code to abolish the regional wage boards and establish a national wages and productivity board to take their place.
This is not actually new. In the past, before 1989, is it when regionalization of wages was passed, or sometime in the 90s? The minimum wage was set nationally, so it was done. Either it could be done by Congress, by an act of Congress, or by the Department of Labor. So we're just going back to that. Essentially, we're going back to that system.
Okay, what is your response to employers who say the figure is too high and they could close shop?
Well, that's what they always say, and especially the big corporations. We hear that from the heads of the chambers of commerce or the business organizations. That's expected, and that they'll say that. But um, according to our own studies, the big corporations can, in fact, absorb such a wage increase, since really wages only form a relatively small percentage of their um, total the total cost. Um, However, we recognize in the bill that for small and medium enterprises, uh, there is a provision for subsidy from government in order for them to augment, uh, in order to um, provide to be able to provide the family living wage.
All right, we understand this is a renewed push, and also, but how about the Senate? Are they filing a counterpart bill?
I have not yet monitored whether a similar bill has been filed. Um, we hope, we expect, and the trade union organizations that we work with will surely make their own efforts to refile, bills related to wage increases.
I know you have high hopes for this House Bill 2599, but do you believe the president will sign this?
Um, well, as I said, it's very clear with what happened to the previous 200 peso wage wage increase bill, that it was the president's uh, um, disapproval or uh, lack of support for the bill that in the end caused its well, that's the reason why it died in Congress. No? So, and even in the State of the Nation address, the president made no mention
Oh, hindi nga
whatsoever
niya nasabi. Oo,
of
sa SONA.
of any wage increase, even though that's one of the main expectations of the public. Is that the issue of wages would be addressed. So, it's again, what would be key here will be public pressure. And we hope that by filing this bill, we will be able to generate more of that of the clamor, from the public, from the workers and workers organizations, as well as from other legislators in both houses.
All right, thank you for your time. Thanks for talking to us, Representative Dino.
Thank you, Mai. Definitely.
We're taking a short break. More business stories are up next. You're watching Business Brief. The Department of Planning, Economy and Development, or DepDev, is raising concerns about trade headwinds, investment declines, and the shrinking window to reach long-term growth targets. Let's get more details from our reporter Sujin Kim, who joins us live from Mandaluyong. Sujin, go ahead.
Yes, Mai, the Department of Planning, Economy and Development, or DepDev, led by Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, held its mid-year economic briefing to assess the country's performance at the halfway mark of the Marcos administration. Among the most pressing issues, the new 19% reciprocal tariff imposed by the United States, which economic managers warn could shave off up to 0.4 percentage points from Philippine GDP. While semiconductors remain exempt, officials flagged potential disruptions in smaller export sectors and heightened uncertainty for investors. The tariff shock comes amid an already weak investment climate. Foreign direct investments are down over 33% year to date, while gross capital formation has fallen to single-digit growth for 2 straight quarters. And although the Philippines remains on track to hit upper middle income status by 2026, Balisacan confirmed that the country's long-stated goal of becoming a high-income economy by 2040, as envisioned in Ambisyon Natin 2040, is no longer feasible under current growth trajectories. The pandemic period, he said, resulted in a 3-year growth setback, pushing realistic projections to around 2050. To course correct, the DBCC presented a recalibrated Philippine Development Plan, or PDP 2023 to 2028, centered on accelerating infrastructure build-out, easing the cost of doing business, strengthening human capital, and driving investments into diversified, high-value industries. On the trade front, officials cautioned that the June bump in export growth may be temporary, attributable to advanced U.S. import orders ahead of the August 1 tariff deadline. While zero tariffs on select U.S. imports, such as livestock feed and medicine, are expected to cost the government 3 to 6 billion pesos in lost annual revenue, officials defended the move as a strategic trade-off to lower input costs in key sectors. And those are latest updates from Mandaluyong City. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you for that report, Sujin Kim. The Department of Agriculture is studying the possibility of pushing for an increase in rice tariffs from 15 to 25%. The move aims to help raise farm gate prices of palay, or unhusked rice, for the next harvest season. Agriculture Assistant Secretary Joycel Panlilio said the adjustment would enable farmers to get better returns. She added that they will discuss the proposal with the DepDev. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority show the farm gate price of local rice fell by around 31% to 16.99 per kilo in June from 24.93 per kilo the previous year. The Social Security system will implement a 3-year pension increase for all of its pensioners. The SSS said this is in line with the directive of President Marcos. Retirement and disability pensioners will have a 10% increase starting September. Death or survivor pensioners will also have a 5% hike. Regular pensioners will also receive the same increase beginning September 2026 and September 2027. AXA Group has completed the 5.4 billion euro sale of AXA Investment Managers to BNP Paribas, one of the world's top asset managers. AXA Philippines assures customers of uninterrupted service with no immediate changes to fund names, managers, or strategies. AXA IM remains the fund provider for AXA's investment-linked life insurance products. The deal allows AXA to tap into BNP Paribas' global expertise while maintaining stability for clients. We're taking a short break, a look at how Philippine stocks did today. Coming up next, you're watching Business Brief.
Discover the art of living well.
This time, we're doing things differently.
From the most beautiful places to journeys that feed the soul and awaken your senses. Join Marie Lozano as she explores travel, taste,
Delicious.
and the trends shaping our world. The Lifestyle Lab.
Just when I thought the adventure couldn't get any better, boom!
Every Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. on Bilyonaryo News Channel.
This is where the country's toughest issues meet its sharpest legal minds.
The prosecutor is part and parcel of the court.
The law can be changed by Congress. It's the state's obligation to carry out its mandate.
Not an ordinary case. This is impeachment.
Abogado. Thursday.
8:30 p.m. only on
Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The U.S. imposes a 15% tariff on imports from South Korea, part of a broader trade deal that aims to avoid even steeper duties. Under the agreement, South Korea commits to invest $350 billion in U.S. projects handpicked by President Trump and to purchase $100 billion worth of liquefied natural gas and other energy exports. Trump says South Korea will also drop import duties on U.S. cars and other products, opening its market to American goods. He adds that South Korea's president is expected to visit Washington soon. Samsung Electronics report a 55% drop in second quarter operating profit. This as U.S. export curbs on advanced chip sales to China affect its semiconductor division. The world's largest memory chip maker posted a $3.37 billion profit for the April to June period, its weakest in 6 quarters. The earnings report came out just days after it signed a $16.5 billion deal with Tesla to make chips for its self-driving cars. A sea of red dominates the equity market as Philippine shares fall for 6 straight trading days in a broad sell-off. The PAOCC index ended lower by more than 1% to close at 62.52, finishing the day as the 5th worst performer in Asia. All of the sectoral indices ended in the red, with mining and oil falling the most at more than 3%. Decliners outpaced advancers at 134 to 61. Total value turnover reached 7.9 billion pesos. The day's most active stocks ended mixed, with DigiPlus falling the most at nearly 30%. Metrobank, on the other hand, rises the most, over 1%. Meanwhile, at the foreign exchange market, the peso is currently trading at 58.11 against the greenback, depreciating from the previous close of 57.58. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business, only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. See you then.